Greetings and welcome to the Warhammer 40,000 kill team video, where today I'm going over my tournament success with Brood Brothers. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video if you found it useful and helpful. And I've got Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, and a link at Element Games, and a link at Discord code at Crossfire Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. But yeah, I'm going over another tournament I ran with Brood Brothers. So this was a tournament up in Manchester at Element Games, more precisely Stockport. I've actually been to Element Games 2 times before this, before I had to use a train. And this time I drove up. I actually thought the drive was going to be quite tough because it's 200 miles. So in the UK, that's a lot, right? So it was like a 3.5 hour to 4 hour drive. It took me 5 hours because 2 people crashed at 2 different times. So I was stuck in traffic. So I went up the night before after my night shift and then, played on the Sunday. It was a 4-round tournament, an hour and 45. So on the tighter, round size time, because most events are 2 hours. But it was a Sunday and it did mean we started at 9:30 and finished at basically around 6, just before 6. So in that regard, especially on a Sunday, that's pretty nice. But it did mean I had to play a lot tighter than I normally would. So I had to, in my practice games, play more faster than I normally would with my Brood Brothers, because with 2 hours you have a little bit more time to think, whereas at an hour and 45 I had to play really fast. And yeah, we need the first 3 missions. The last one would be random, and they revealed we play on a variety of kill zones. So we were playing on Vulcus, Gallodark, and Beta Decima, and in rotation with the LVO Gallodark maps from Squad Games, as well as some of the, I think it's New England Beta Decima maps. So I had to plan for finally Beta Decima, which I was like, you know what, Brood Brothers, they're mostly a shooting team, that's okay. So I had some key matchups I wanted to watch out for. So I prepped for Raveners because I knew Harrison was playing them, and then I saw on the day 2 Brood Brother players, and I was like, I hope I don't play them. So let's get into, and then yeah, I'm still sticking with my Brood Brothers, of course, as you can see. I'm currently working on a converted version of the team, but I don't know how long this team will survive in the balanced data slate. I believe this team is probably going to get affected, and you'll see my reaction tomorrow to that. So, all the best. So let's see how my last hurrah potentially with the Brood Brothers turns out. So starting off in round 1, we were playing Intel, and I was into Vespid on Gallodark. So this is a GW map. I was actually thinking about taking the Patriarch here, because the Patriarch can easily secure the door in the top left corner in the center room, because there's a door on the top left corner and on the top left corner side. Those are 2 doors. So effectively I could sit the Patriarch there with his 4 APL on conceal next to my bodyguard. But then I was like, look, it's Vespid. They all have P1 guns and they're all 2 APL. It's just Magus. It's just the Magus time. So I went Magus. So I went Magus, 2 familiars. Then I took the commander with power weapon, the medic, grenade launcher, plasma gun, melter gun, the bodyguard, the sapper, the comms, the medic, and the icon ward. So that's kind of my standard default loadout. I took 2 light barricades, Colt knives, and 2 cracks, as well as a Colt guys to move up. Oh no, I didn't take Colt guys. I took Colt lookout so I could generate a crossfire token. And basically my plan was to stage up. I out-activated the Vespid by 1. But I had to be careful because of how their Sky Torch work, because if I'm not too careful and the Sky Torch can set up, they can actually flame a lot of my models. So turning point 1 was about staging. He actually moved his Shade Strain into the big room on the left, and then I completely forgot that you can't shoot it unless you're within 6. I was like, oh, even though he's in the open, can't do anything. So I just made him -1 APL, because basically everyone moved up from where they are. The grenade launcher on the right hand side moved to open the door on the lower right hand side of the room, where the Magus switched to the left hand side to kind of pin everyone down from the left hand flank. And then round 2. So then in turning point 2, I had set up a free APL melter. So I was like, okay, I have initiative. So I'm immediately going to reposition, open the door, and flame his Sky Torch. Immediately killed his Sky Torch. He then shot me back and killed my melter. So then my agitator opened the door and charged in. And then he charged my agitator and then failed to kill him because of my agitator, just a scratch. Then my commander charged in, killed the unactivated Vespid in the room that was with my agitator, and basically locked down that room for me. And then I basically just kept pushing up. And because I managed to get early kills, everyone moving up into the left-hand room was just like couldn't move up too much because of the Magus, and I kept making everyone 1 APL. So the Shade Strain was just kind of like forced to boop and then not really do much. And then turning point 3, my opponent won initiative, but because of my ability to ignore piercing because of the Magus, wasn't able to kill. And then by the end of the game, I'd basically killed so many that I'd scored max points apart from the kill up because I couldn't kill one more Vespid. So that was a 20 to, I think, 3 game, but it was really bad for the Vespid. This was probably like their worst matchup. Like, not only are Brood Brothers tough for them, but on Vocus, it's just too much. So this was kind of just like a very favorable matchup for my Brood Brothers. Then in round 2, I was like, oh, okay. Let's hope I don't play the mirror. So playing the mirror into the other Brood Brother player, because there's 3 of us, this time we were playing secure on Vocus. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I was given priorities. I won priority for deployment, so I took the bottom side. So basically with Coat Geysers, I took the same loadout as before, but this time I dropped the plasma gun and I took the sniper instead, and I dropped the melter gun and took the knife fighter instead, because this time it's like, because he took the Magus as well, piercing doesn't really do anything, and because I'd taken the bottom hand side, I could now control the sniper nest. So with covert guys, I managed to roll a 2 on, well, you know, a 2 on 2 on a D3. So I'd moved my sapper and sniper up, and then because I'd spent 1 CP for pervasive, turning point 1, I was able to get my guy up there. I'd taken the knife fighter because there's so much heavy, I can actually threaten up well with the knife fighter, who can get close to the Magus without the Magus being able to mind blast me unless the Magus gets within 2, and I can outfight everyone else. So that really worked well for me. My opponent made the mistake of putting his agitator and plasma up to the middle point. So last activation, because I used Insidious to dash my sapper up with 3 APL, he repositioned up. So he moved, because of Insidious, he was able to reposition far enough up past the heavy terrain to hit the agitator and into the plasma. So with 3 APL, he repositioned through the super mine, killed the agitator and knocked the plasma down to 3 wounds. And then because his comms was also on that corner by the building, I placed my mine ability within 2 inches of, well, 1 control range of myself, but also within 2 inches of the plasma and the comms. So then I won initiative turning point 2, and immediately, because I've played pervasive again, charged my agitator, who was at the side of the stronghold, onto the other side of the stronghold into his sapper, but only managed to do 4 damage because I only got 2 hits and he got a hit. So I managed to just do 4 damage and trap him there. Then the thing is, he couldn't, because he had no decent melee threats near my sapper, if he decided to kill my sapper, it would either hit the plasma or the comms or both. So then he did something else. So then I immediately activated my sapper. He switched to conceal. He repositioned up onto the Volcus stronghold because of Insidious, blew up his mine, did 4 damage to the plasma and did 12 to the comms. And then from there, I was basically able just to push enough kills because he had a familiar on the left-hand side, which my commander killed. The sniper had to run onto the point to secure the middle point. And by the end of turning point 2, I had both 2 points, so the left and right. I was controlling the stronghold. And then I think I'd already killed the Magus by then because the Magus had to push. No, I killed the Magus turning point 3 because his Magus had to push up. Unfortunately, his commander rode through a frag turning point 2 into my familiar on the right, killed it. Left my bodyguard on 3 wounds and did no damage to the medic. And then obviously he rolled into himself and then rolled 3 crits and blew himself up. So basically by the end of turning point 4, I'd killed everyone. And I'd secured all the points. So I managed to win this one 21-4 because I'd taken stronghold, take ground again. And this time, because I kept controlling the stronghold, I was just winning all of that. So because my opponent got a bit too aggressive and because I was going last, because I broke ties on scouting, I was able to take that as a win. Then we had the painting competition over lunch. As you can see, there's my Brood Brothers painted up ages ago when they were released with my rusty barricades, but there was a high level of painting. Like as you can see, these goremongers were amazing. They're even better in person, and they won the painting. They were like really good. And then, but the overall selection of hobby was really good, as it's quite normal when you come to kill team events, especially in the UK. And then there's a cat. I don't know why there was a cat. Apparently now a cat just comes to Element Games. It was great. The cat was everywhere. The cat came to me a lot. I think the cat was a good luck omen. I'm pretty good with cats. I like cats. It was great. It was really nice. I was just like, oh, there's a cat. And everyone's like, oh yeah, it just comes here all the time now. I thought someone let it in. It just let itself in and just fell asleep on one of the tables. It was great. 10 out of 10 cat experience. So round 3, this time we're playing Power Surge. I was like, okay, we're on Beta Decima. That's fine. Hopefully I get a new opponent. So once again, I'm into the Brood Brother mirror. So Brood Brothers 2 games in a row, I had to play all the Brood Brothers because there can be only one. So this time I won priority again, and I picked the bottom side because it gave me the tower, and basically the middle objective is easier for me to get to ish. And the objective in the center is just in the open. So this time I took the same loadout as before, but this time I dropped the Knife Fighter for the Plasma. So the reason I dropped the Knife Fighter this time is because there's no real safe place for it to stage. In Vocus and Galodon, there's a lot of like light and heavy cover for you to use, but in Beta Decima, there's nothing. There's like nothing. I hate Beta Decima so much. There's nothing. So what my opponent did, he had his Agitator, Plasma, and Sapper on the left-hand side, and then his Magus in the middle with his Commander, and then the rest on the right. So what I did, I kind of spread out as well. I had a heavy barricade. I had to go first, so I kind of spaced out. I was using my medic to like, because my opponent actually didn't take a medic this time. He had taken the Knife Fighter as well as all 3 gunners. So while I was set up, what happened near the end of turning point 1, I'd faked out basically. Well, I didn't really fake out. So what I'd done is I'd used Insidious to dash my, Sapper up just a few inches up, so he could reposition dash with free APL and throw a crack into the Familiar behind the heavy barricade. But because my opponent was so focused on that, he'd moved down the left-hand side and then had placed his Plasma and Agitator next to that pillar. And then because of where I'd placed my Magus and Plasma, I realized with a reposition and dash, I can actually get within 2 and then Mind Blast his Agitator. So first I repositioned and dashed the Plasma, so it was safe because of how the valid target stuff works with Beta Decima, and like basically couldn't see the Plasma. And then the Magus, second to like third last activation, repositioned and dashed, rolled a 3-up and basically blew his Agitator away. And then he did manage to get a shot on my grenade launcher, knocking it down to 1 wound. But before he could send the Magus in, I was like, no, I have to keep the grenade launcher alive, because where the grenade launcher was, it allowed me to stage up for future turns. So I did reposition and dash my Sapper into the midpoint, killed his Familiar, and then my guy died to the Magus. But in return, he now had no one who could safely claim the middle point. Then I won initiative and I had to take it, because basically where I could do is I could charge my Magus, kill the Plasma, then I'd be within 6 of the Sapper, and because we were on the kill zone floor, I could basically Mind Blast him. So it was a bit dicey. I put 2 Crossfire tokens onto the Plasma, rolled a crit and 4 hits, killed him, then Mind Blast and rolled a 5 and blew away a Sapper. So I did immediately lose my Magus after that, but that was very important. And then effectively I just kept rushing up. Because I was able to secure the left-hand flank, I had no one threatening the center point that could get there safely, and the Plasma was still there quite safe, providing threat. The middle turned into a scrum, and I was able to control the right-hand objective because I got my Familiar and Icon on there, and because I controlled the left-hand building, it means I could safely stand there without worrying of being shot. His gunners were mostly on the middle and right gantries, so then I just basically locked it down and I kept throwing bodies in the middle. And because we were playing Power Surge, turning point 1, I think I managed to get 1 on the primary, and then I managed to get 2 on the primary every turn by controlling everything. And yeah, I managed to win this one 20-6. So I got very lucky because I played very aggressively. But if I didn't play aggressively like that, I mean, both Maguses did die. I had to double charge. So charge with the Agitator who redirected into the Sniper, then charge with my Commander who killed the Magus. But it was a very bloody affair. But if I wasn't this aggressive and just respected my opponent too much, let them move up too safely, I wouldn't have been able to stay as dominating as I would, because I'd taken take ground again, and I'd secured take ground with the left gantry, the center building, and the right gantry. So plan worked, but it was a bit dicey. Then finally in round four, this time we were playing Transmission, and I was in Beta Decima again, but this time I was into Raveners, and I was like, oh wow, this is actually a matchup I properly practiced for, because I was like, you know what, can my team kill Raveners? So going this time, I took my traditional loadout like I took in round one, because I was like, yeah, I don't need to fight you. I didn't take Colt Knives this time. I took 2 light barricades, I took a heavy barricade for staging, I took 2 cracks and lookout and a Colt Guys, because I did one with the scouting option, not Colt Geysers, but the heavy barricade. So my opponent made me go first because I was into Harrison Dio. I think he was the only Ravener player. And effectively, he deployed his shooty one in the middle, but because I had aggressively staged with the Melter, if he had put his Ravener behind the heavy barricade, next turning point, because I'd made the Melter free APL, it would be able to dash, reposition over, and then Melter and effectively kill that. And he'd put his Crusher on the left-hand side. So he moved up once again near the pillar where he'd put a light barricade. So this time I was like, okay, because I had my Magus, Bodyguard, Agitator, and Plasma on the left-hand side. So because he did that like first activation through a smoke, he was like 4 inches away from the pillar, but it was like very hard to get a non-obscured shot on him. So I was like, okay, but if I just reposition and dash, I can just set up a lot safely. So what I did is I repositioned and dashed the Bodyguard up to the pillar to basically like close the door, put my Agitator more than 2 inches away from him, directly behind the gantry, but within 6 of the Wrecker. And then I repositioned and dashed my Magus, and then did -1 APL and did like 4 damage to him. And then the Plasma got up, did an obscured shot because of smokes. I did Ruthless Coordination via the Bodyguard and then getting onto that little gantry in my deployment, and did another 4 damage because I got like 4 hits. Then he won initiative and took it. He charged, because he was only 1 APL, he charged my Bodyguard and Magus. I redirected onto the Bodyguard. Bodyguard lived on 1 wound, so then I started immediately falling back because his Poison Guide moved to his right-hand side gantry, and I spent the first 4 activations killing this Wrecker. So what I did, I fell back with the Bodyguard. The Magus just did 4 damage, then then dashed, then repositioned up onto the gantry. The Agitator threw a crack, knocking him down to 4 wounds, and then the Plasma just went hot and rolled 4 crits and just deleted the Crusher. The Toxin dude did reposition and dash and then killed my Melter, but then after like using a lot of operatives, I was able to just kill it. So at the end of turning point 2, I had killed 2 Raveners, and by turning point 3, I was able to kill his other Venom, like the other Toxin Ravener, so I'd managed to kill that. My opponent was pushing deep into my territory, but because I had taken take ground again, I got take ground from the little gantry, the middle gantry with the objective, and the other objective. I only managed to get 1 point on the crit up turning point 1. My opponent would take an implant, so he'd implanted the Bodyguard. So as long as the Bodyguard kept staying alive, he'd get 1, but he kept charging me and like implanting me. So the issue was, because I was able to put enough chip damage through, and because of Ruthless Coordination and my Magus, I was able to kill 3 Raveners and actually end on kill grade 3. I managed to get 5 on the crit op to his 3, and then on the tac op we both got 6. So I was ahead on the kill op by 2, and I was ahead on the crit op by 2. So I won the game by 4, 18-14. It was very close, and to be fair, I was quite advantageous on Beta Decima, but I think I would have played the same on Volcus. Gallo Dark would have been harder for me, but the thing is, I knew not to take Contain. I was like, oh, maybe I should have taken Contain. And then when I revealed Take Ground, I was like, I'm so glad I did not take Contain, because in turning point 2, he was already like in my territory. So I actually would have lost if I'd taken Contain. But with the ability of the Magus, he just like spent the whole game giving people -1 APL, only really doing like 2 to 4 damage with his Mind Blast. I'm not doing enough. But because I was able to get so many angles, I managed to get a turning point. Like my 3rd kill was via a Ruthless Coordination comms lasgun into a 2-wound Ravener by rolling 3 crits and a hit. So like lasguns can be dangerous. But the plan basically worked because there was no real safe place for him to move up. And because this wasn't an end game mission, I knew I was going to win on the crit op because Raveners couldn't commit because they would just literally die to my shooting. So I managed to go 4-0. So for the tournament overview at the Deadwood tournament, because there were 34 players, there was going to be a few undefeated, and actually were. So 2 different people drew and ended on 3 wins and a draw. So I was actually the only person on 4 wins. So I managed to win the event. I got a nice little trophy. They gave me a Deadwood certificate, which was great. I got also, what do you call it? An Element Games voucher, which was really awesome. But I was really happy. I was like, once again, I was using this event more for practice because I'm not able to get many practice games. And basically, I don't have another tournament until Nova. So I was like, it was just a nice way to come up, and I had a lot of fun. For the top 8, so obviously I was first with Brood Brothers. We had Adam with Battle Clade, so he came second, really nice. Sanctifiers came third. Harrison came fourth. Thomas with Nemesis Claw came 5th. Jack with his Ratlings came 6th. Declan with his Inquisitor Agents came 7th. And then another Declan came 8th with his Brood Brothers. So a very diverse top 8, which is really good to see. You know, the meta is in kind of a weird place right now. It's not great, but it's like it exists because everything's changing tomorrow. But my plan basically worked with the Brood Brothers. It's like TAC Ops still aren't great, but this time I was able to use more of the practice I've had to maximize my crit op scoring and TAC op denial, like, and scoring itself, because it's like, you know, when you have 12 activations, I find security's a lot better. I really don't like implant, but I love when my opponents run implant because implant helps me win games when I'm not using it. So it's interesting. I think the only time you can unfortunately use the Patriarch is Gallodark, but then its uses are so niche because the Magus is just so powerful. And then the Sniper is weird. He's better on Vocus and Beta Decima, but Vocus only if you win the Tall Stronghold. But there was a lot of tricks I was using, obviously that my opponents know, but with Ruthless Coordination, you can get a lot of crazy shots, especially late game, when you can use operatives that can't really kill, for example, with las guns and stuff, and then use Ruthless Coordination to set up shots you wouldn't normally get. Like, for example, on Beta Decima, I actually used Ruthless Coordination a lot, turning points 2 to 4 with my Plasma to get shots via other people where it normally couldn't get shots because of gantries. So it allows you to have a really big threat range and get around like all that obscuring stuff, which is really powerful. And then obviously it helps with the Magus that you're immune to piercing and being injured, which means your Plasma can always afford to go hot at least once per turn, like once per game. And then if you're near the medic, you can just keep staying alive. And the medic was really key. I think I took it every game. The medic was just so important. Even in like, because like if you watch my medic guide, there were so many times where my medic just kept people alive at the end of the turning point, and then when I lost initiative, it didn't really matter because they couldn't die again, and obviously because I'd taken the Magus, they went at -1 APL. But yeah, you know, I play a bit aggressively, sometimes too much. I think my Magus died, it only died once. Yeah, my Magus only died once. One game it was left on like 2 wounds, so you know, you got. I like to live dangerously too. But it was a really fun event, and Deadwood are great. Like, they had a lot of prize support. The Element Games is a really amazing venue. This is my 3rd time there. Like, the food and drink was really affordable. They had great table service. Like, the bar was amazing. It was also part of the Element Games store, so I managed to buy some hobby stuff. So it was like, you know, you had a huge selection. It's like a little treasure trove of hobby materials from like, you know, Games Workshop to hobby products, which was really nice. And the venue was really great. It had aircon. Aircon was amazing. Like, it was struggling at points, but you know, they had a Warhammer 40,000 tournament at the same time, and the Deadwood Deadwood team ran it really well. A lot of fun. I'd highly recommend going. And yeah, even the drive wasn't too bad. Like, driving back was fine. I nearly died because it just suddenly I was like driving, and then there was like a huge like black storm cloud we were driving into, and I was like, okay. And then it just turned into a monsoon, and everyone went from 70 miles an hour to 15 because otherwise we all would have died. But I didn't die, and yeah, the drive wasn't too bad. It's only 3.5 hours if you're coming from London, which was pretty good. But if you're in the surrounding area, it's really, really fun, and yeah, it's just great. So I'll try and get there again if I can, but my schedule is pretty sucky. As I said, my next big tournament is Nova. I've got the Balanced Data Slate tomorrow, which I'm just like, Look, I know Brood Brothers are going to get hit. I just don't know how hard. But hopefully in a way that doesn't affect how I play too much. And, the meta's wholly going to change. But hopefully it stays the same. And, like, if Brood Brothers aren't completely, like, annihilated, I'll probably stick with them. Just because I'm enjoying how they play. They remind me like Pathfinders, which is, nice. But that's pretty much it for me today. Please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video if you found it useful and helpful. Remember, I've got Discord you can check out for in the episode description below, and a affiliate link on games, and a affiliate link on Discord.crossfiregames, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. And I'm just going to shout my patrons. So for my adepts of the crew, I have Tom, the Houston Toad, Super Cow, Nick, Mr. Meatwad, Marshall, Lucas, Graham, Fangzu, Draken, Dan, Dada Goldens, Chris, Arlix, Morphium, and Alexis. So thank you so much for all your support. It really means a lot to me and helps support the channel. But yeah, I'm going to have like no sleep because I've got a night shift. Then I come back, balanced day of sleep, maybe sleep, then another night shift. And then I'm in America. So, I'm in America all the time now. I can't escape. I love paying so much for eggs. But remember, no matter what happens with the balanced data slate and your tournament experience, you'll always win as long as you can roll a crit.